smash U.S. Venezuelan President Nicholas Maduro issued a stark warning to the United States during a rally in Caracas, declaring that the country must be ready to smash the teeth of the North American empire. Speaking while holding the sword of Simón Bolívar, Maduro said, "In these times, things have to be different, but we must always stand like warriors, women and men with one eye wide open, the other one too, working, producing, building, keeping everything running, and ready to smash the teeth of the North American empire if necessary." From Bolívar's homeland. The reason for Maduro's anger is the seizure of his oil tanker. Donald Trump announced that U.S. forces seized a very large oil tanker off Venezuela's coast. Trump responded during an event at the White House, saying the vessel was taken because it was transporting sanctioned crude linked to Venezuela and Iran. Attorney General Pam Bondi also confirmed the seizure, stating that the tanker was carrying oil subject to U.S. sanctions and was part of what she described as illicit energy shipments tied to networks Washington associates with narcotics financing. The Hill noted that the U.S. Coast Guard and military personnel carried out another tanker seizure in international waters, identifying the vessel as Centuries and alleging it was falsely flagged while transporting sanctioned oil. Trump has left open the possibility of expanding U.S. operations in Venezuela beyond maritime actions. When asked about the prospect of deploying U.S. troops or launching strikes on land, he said, "No, I don't rule out that. I don't rule out anything." He also indicated that land-based operations to stop traffickers could begin very soon. At the same time, Trump suggested diplomatic engagement remains possible, noting that Venezuelan officials had expressed interest in talks and that conversations with President Nicolas Maduro could still occur. Venezuela
All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off with saying, Call Halayim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harakak Wadash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and double honors to our elder apostles, as well as her one, Bani Yashara, down here in the Lions Den camp. Salutation to the Akim out of pushing the truth, sincerity, and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, I'm Khanak Zahn, Bani Yashara from the Lions Den Yashara camp. This is a Lions Den news and prophecy, man. Um, let's go. This is 2 Ezra 15:1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." All right, and cause them to be written on paper, because they are faithful and true. Ain't really much you got to say about that. You heard it in the opening video how Venezuela, the president of Venezuela, Nicholas Maduro, feels about you know America. I wonder if I can share this. Well, anyway, yeah, man, and it's because the tyrannical actions that are being done by the United States. I got an article on my computer. I was trying to see if I could get it sent to my phone, but I just read it. There's another video on there. I'm gonna see if I can maybe put it on that post production. It just shows the United States seizing that tanker that Nicolas Maduro was talking about. And you know, hmm, they hot. I don't know if that's the same uh oil tanker that China is upset about, because China said, what I'm saying, it was a vessel that was seized that had some of their oil coming on it. You know, it says let's read this article. It says, "Seething tyrant, raging Maduro vows to break America's teeth after U.S. seizes a Venezuelan ship as Trump shrugs, I assume we keep the oil." It says almost $70 million of oil was aboard the tanker, part of the global shadow fleet that also re- services Russia and Iran. Ooh, so you got Russia and Iran's oil that you done took? Yo, I didn't know that was, man. It says is it says seething dictator Nicholas Maduro has vowed to kick in the teeth of America after its sensationally seized an oil tanker off Venezuela's shores. He fumed the U.S. had committed an act of piracy, while a nonchalant Donald Trump suggested the state would keep the oil. Like, I'm talking about, like, strong on him. It says Maduro produces trusty sword yet again as a squirm under heightened pressure. It says in a sword wielding speech after the seizure, Maduro called for Venezuelans to give the U.S. a real beating. He thundered, in times like these, we must be like warriors. Let's let the weak say I'm strong. With both eyes peeled, working, producing, building, keeping the country functioning, and he prepared to and be prepared to kick the teeth of the North American empire if necessary. And it looks like it's going to be necessary because of the draconian and tyrannical actions that the United States is performing right now, as if they can't be touched. It says, and when a reporter inquired about the fate of the oil on board, he shrugged. We keep it, I guess. Maduro was reeling on Wednesday evening as U.S. pressure hit unprecedented levels, with the maritime sting on the tanker reportedly holding 1.1 million barrels of oil. Man. And it said this was the first time America had interrupted Venezuela's oil flow and the first target not directly related to the drug trade. None of them have to do with the drug trade. There isn't, man. Anyway, says stunning footage shared by U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi showed commandos rappelling down from a chopper and storming the tanker. This article I have right here that I'm reading from shows I might try to see if I can add it in post production. All right. It says elite troops from maritime. Oh, I can email it to you. All right. Hold on one second. It says elite troops from the Maritime Security Response Team tactical units within the U.S. Coast Guard dispersed in formation with guns aloft, darting up staircases and sweeping through cabins. It says these units specialize in maritime counterterrorism and counter narcotics. It says the White House said the vessel was transporting sanctioned oil and that the team was executing a seizure warrant. They didn't show nobody. Says UK Maritime Risk Management Group Vanguard identified the tanker as Skipper, which is the U.S. sanction for alleged involvement in Iran's oil trade under another name. It is part of global shadow fleet, older under unregulated ships that transport sanctioned oil from Russia, Iran, and Venezuela to countries in Asia. That's where China gets involved. It says it set off Venezuela's main oil port of Jose between December 4th and the 5th after loading around 1.1 million barrels of oil worth around $66 million, according to the satellite info analyzed by tankertrackers.com and data from Venezuelan state oil company PDVSA. All right, but that ain't, I mean, they just season stuff. They're stealing, really. That's why Maduro said it's an act of piracy. They're acting like pirates, man. Jumping on ships, R matey, taking over stuff that don't belong to him. Neither keep it at home and large as his desires as hell and ends as death. See that? Hold on 1 second. So let's get the scripture real quick. Psalms 58 and 1, it says, "Do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth." Right, that's what all Esau does. It says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. So this is what they born to do, is be wicked. All right, it says, hmm, it says they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Mm. See that? Everything that they say and talking about this whole situation is a lie, man. At first, it was all about drugs. Now they're talking about sanctioned oil that shouldn't have been distributed, and then next is gonna be something else. It's just a whole bunch of lies, man. It says their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming ever so wisely. See that? So they ain't gonna listen to nothing nobody say. That's like 2/3 of white people won't listen to the charmers. See that? It says this is the point right there, right here. It says break their teeth, O Yahweh, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lion, O Yahweh by Shem Shai. The young lion represents Esau, man. So what Maduro is saying, you know, is really prophetic, man. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. And breaking out their teeth means their might, their strength. See that? Break out their teeth, their strength. That's their military, you know. It says, "Let them melt away as waters which run continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, let them be cut in pieces. As a snail which melteth, let every one of them pass away, like the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun." See that? See that? So the Lord has a judgment for this place and the judgment for Esau, and he got these other nations like calling out like Venezuela. That's Jake, but they calling out like scriptures. Yeah, you had Putin a couple years ago. He brought out a Bible verse, I think in Proverbs or Psalms, and he said that he think he's prophesied to take down Babylon, in which he is. See that? So the Lord is raising up the spirit of these other nations to come against this place, man. You know. So I just wanted to touch on that, right? Because it's not a coincidence that he used that terminology, breaking their teeth in their mouth, and we read it right here in Psalms 58. See that? So the Lord is doing a work, and He's turning back our captivity right before our eyes, and bringing this devil down to his proper place, which is back in the dust. All right, so I just want to touch on that a little bit. For Lord willing, let's edify and serve the purpose for the hope elect, the ones that truly believe in the name Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. With that, I'd like to say, call Halayim, La Yahweh, by Shem Yahweh Shai, by Shem Harikak Vedash, my month. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone, double honors to my elder apostle of the well, the One by Yasharala, down in the Lions Den camp. Salutations to the argument of pushing the truth, to sincerity and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.